Hey everybody, welcome to Badder Sports, and we get to jump into the Badder5. As always, I'm joined by the host of Rounding Third, Dad Peter Lemieux, the man, the myth, the legend, and as always, my brother Todd. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the end of July. I know we went into August a little bit, but this is the Badder5, and I think this week it was it's very rich with talented teams that just couldn't end the month on a high note. And then they have the number one team, which isn't that talented. The Washington Nationals are here again. They're pretty bad. They've given up. They're back. They were 1-5. They were minus 34 in their run differential. They're just a bad team. Todd, you gave away the farm when you told them to walk one player, and ever since you said that, this team cannot win anymore. They are still recovering from the 2019 World Series win. Congratulations on that win. I think in a 2029, 2030, we should see you relevant again. I think that's what we're hoping for. Any surprises? I mean, they lost to the Brewers. Brewers are hot. And they lost to the Astros. But they got one win against the Astros. That was their one win.
The first win of the week.
Ooh, you're right.
You thought like maybe this is the week Washington wins all their games.
3-7 in their last 10. You've paid $109 million for a 44-67 record, and they're competing with the Braves in the bottom of the NL East. Dad, you seem unaffected by this.
Well,
has anybody surprised?
No, they had a run. I'm probably wrong, but it seems to me they had a stretch. It was a while ago because they lost like 13 in a row after, where they actually were hitting the ball and they looked like, hey, this team might have something to them. But when that ended, everything ended. They've just been horrible.
They were supposed to build around this kid, Mackenzie Gore. Name ring a bell, anyone?
No.
Al Gore's son?
Well, he might be, because just like Al Gore falsely predicted the hockey stick of global warming, Mackenzie Gore falsely predicted the future of the Washington Nationals as a legitimate player. Mm-hmm. So, 6 runs. It's a mess. It's a mess over there. He's like they're sitting there. They're thinking they're gonna actually build this kid up to maybe use him as trade bait to put him out there, and he just blew up. And then they went into Milwaukee, and you know how they called it the Valentine's Day Massacre? Mm. This is the Milwaukee Massacre. What happened there? I think Milwaukee set a record in a 3-game series for themselves. I'm looking at my notes here. They had a record for hits in a 3-game series with 56.
Wow.
Yeah, this was
56.
So they beat the Nationals 16-3, 8-2, and 14-3. I'm sorry, 16-9, 8-2, and 14-3. That's just a lot of scoring, very entertaining baseball, and the Brewers always end up on the winning side. Brewers are playing excellent, and if you play the Brewers, you may end up on the Badder5 right now.
You got a bunch of young players over there, and there's no veteran safety net anymore. It's just an onslaught. Congratulations, Milwaukee! You beat up the youngest kid in class. I hope you're proud of yourself.
They are a professional baseball team. I think the only news that is surprising to me about the Nationals has got to be that Patrick Corbin is serviceable on the Texas Rangers. And that has nothing to do with the Nationals this year. It has to do with the Nationals the last several years. So that surprised me. So I guess if you get a Nationals player and he becomes usable and useful, I am surprised. So that's where the Nationals are. Let's go to our team number 2, where we get a little bit more.
Wait, hold on a second. I just want to see something real quick. I want to check to see where the abuse that the Milwaukee Brewers did for the last week. What was their batting average for the week?
456.
It had to be something like 500 or so. How do you have 56 hits? I mean, like, really. I mean, like, honestly.
Some of the highlights are
In
pretty
the last 7 days, hitting wise, the Milwaukee Brewers were batting .360
Dear God.
with an on-base percentage of .415. The team OPS was .999. I know nobody talks about average anymore. There's this thing they put on TV, like in their announcing games, like, average doesn't mean anything. All these people that thought batting average meant something, they're all washed up boomers. I'm a washed up boomer. I think it actually means something. But I noticed in the ballparks now, they just post OPS. They don't post average anymore. They just post OPS. But for the team to have an OPS at .999,
Wow.
77 hits in 7 days.
Who did they beat besides Washington?
Nuns.
No, they didn't beat. They only went 5-1 this week, and they were a plus 27. So they weren't the best and the brightest. Who else did they beat? They beat the Cubbies.
The Mariners.
They beat the Cubbies.
I knew that it was going to be the Cubs.
They beat them.
The Cubs,
They
yeah.
beat
Sorry, I
them
went back 2 weeks. Yeah.
They beat them 8-4, 9-3, and they lost to the Cubs 3-10, which is their only loss.
That's stupid.
But that's their competitor in the league, and they took 2 out of 3.
Yeah, Brewers are playing great, and they look to be winning that division, even though they traded away their manager to the Cubs. Seems like a bright move, in my opinion. And we've talked
angry.
Talked a
They're
lot.
an angry team.
I like the Brewers this year. Brewers look pretty good, especially if you look at the National League. I think there's a lot of weakness. And speaking of weakness in the National League, well, one of our lead leaguers, the New York Mets, decided to join the Washington Nationals in the NL East. They also have 1 win. They went 1-5. They were more respectable with a -2. So if you think about this team, they were 5 losses and only ended up with a -2. Lost a couple close ones. Beat up the Giants in 1 game, lost to them pretty bad in another game. Here's what you have. They were swept by the Padres, and then they lost the series to the Giants. The Giants are not playing good. It was a bad series to lose to the Giants. I wonder, is this midseason nap time, Todd? They're right there. They clearly are the cream of the crop in the NL East. They're right there in the wild card race. They're doing just fine. We have 8 weeks to go. I thought of this when I was prepping and talking about this. There's that game when you were a kid, Red Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. Red Rover, Juan Soto, please, for the love of all that is holy, be yourself again. You have 8 weeks to go. He could carry the team into the playoffs. He could get hot in the last 5-6 weeks. We have 8 weeks of batter 5 before the playoffs, and right now the Mets, I think he's in the 247 range at this point. He just hasn't taken off the way I thought. I always think the first year's tough, but we're over that first year. It's time for him to be himself.
You want to see something really scary? Look up his stats with runners in scoring position this year.
It's brutal.
He's batting like 150.
Oh,
It's horrid. It's absolutely horrid. I think in the game yesterday against the Padres that we lost at 12-2 or something, I think he was like 7 for the last 49 or something like that, which is crazy because he was like basically the National League Player of the Month for June. It's just weird. It's just really weird. The week, I attribute the whole week to Frankie Montas. The whole week blew it. He had 2 games where he demolished any. This is the problem with the Mets right now. We can't have nice things. It's like when you have small children and you get the house cleaned up and you're like, this is great. Keep it like this. We got company. Grandma and Grandpa are coming over. Keep everything nice. We want them to believe we live in a civilized. We want nice things. We're going to have nice things. We're going to show. You turn around. The second you turn around, dishes break, dogs are shaved, some kid's got a bruise. We can't keep nice things around. I don't know why that is. I don't know why it is. And But this last week, you had Montas doing 2 starts. They had to put a press release out today saying Frankie Montas is going to make his next start on Saturday, but they're going to have a reliever actually do the first inning or so to be like a what do they call him, like a precursor starter or something like that?
An appetizer?
I was like, can the appetizer go 9 innings? Like, it's just something. He's a disaster. He was a disaster in the minor leagues. He's had like 1 or 2 good starts. That being said, the reason I'm not really irritated at the Mets was because I was able to go to Citi Field on Friday night, and we lost 4-3, and that was horrible. But I had the tickets where you had all you could eat in the stadium. If you bring your ticket to the vendor, you scan it, and it just goes right with the price of the ticket. I think we ate $500 worth of food. It is better than the Golden Corral all-you-can-eat Friday night special. If I ever get these tickets again, I'm telling you, I'm absolutely going to. I have it all gamed out. I have it all planned out. I know where I'm going. It's got the best food in Major League Baseball. My boy Papa Cohen, great job on Citi Field. I had 2 lobster rolls. 2. The hot lobster roll and the cold lobster roll. That was after I had the bucket of popcorn, the donuts, the Zeppelis, the pizza, the hot dog, the chicken fingers, and then there was a really nice steak sandwich that was mint. And they had these cake pops, too, that were just delicious.
Is this the problem with Juan Soto? Didn't he get a free box with this? And doesn't that come with all you can eat? Is he eating all you can eat during the game, and he's in a coma-like state?
No. Dude, I'm telling you, that guy is ripped. When you are that close to the field, these are ginormous human beings doing amazing things. They're all physical specimens. It's amazing to me anybody hits the ball.
Yes, I would.
It's incredible. But he's not. I need the pitching and the hitting to all click at the same time. Not like randomly Pete Alonso hits home runs, randomly Lindor is hitting, randomly Nimmo is hitting, randomly this guy's pitching. Up until tonight, I think we've had one guy since June 2nd as a starting pitcher go 6 innings. It's brutal. We had a guy last night, Warren, go 4.5 innings picking up for Frankie Montas. It was brilliant. 4.5 innings, no runs. Today we released him to free agency. Thanks. And I guarantee you we will pick him up again in 7 days. We're using I've never seen a team use free agency as their bullpen, which is basically what we're doing at this point.
So, Dad, before you get into this, just some more stats. The Mets are 5-5 in their last 10, which means they were coming off some wins the previous week. And the month of July was not a bad...
They won 7 in a row.
Wasn't a bad month for the Mets, but all in all, they're 63-49. I have my reservations about this team as a playoff team. What are your thoughts about them? Because I think now we can finally talk. The Mets should make the playoffs. They should be one of the teams.
Well, I think that too. After the trading deadline, I got a lot of stuff sent to me about how the Mets loaded up, now have a phenomenal bullpen, and how the Yankees did something similar. The Yankees and the Mets have loaded up, and they proceeded, both of them, to lay down and die over the weekend. The Yankees got swept by the Marlins with this brand new great team. So I just have to say, it's baseball. That's what happens, because I think both of them are going to the playoffs. It's just an embarrassing week.
Nothing else you can say about that. The Mets were 1-5. The Nationals were 1-5. One of these teams was expected to be here. All the Mets had to do is get that second win, and I think they would have not made the Badder5 being 2-4, because that's all you needed this week to get out of it. The next 3 teams all went 2-5. All 3 of these teams have aspirations beyond the regular season, or at least some did. The first is the third place team, which is my pick. I picked the Toronto Blue Jays to be here. And by golly, they had the hottest July, but they certainly came crashing down. 2-5 with a minus 26 run differential.
Wow.
They were getting smoked everywhere. The Orioles had a good day with time with them, and then they also lost to the Cubbies. They had 2 wins, 5 losses, 7 straight games. 4-6 in their last 10. They are in first place still, and the only team that has decided to run with them is a surprising team of the Boston Red Sox. Still in first. Toronto had a tough week. One of the hottest teams in July by a mile, and especially in that division. The question that I have for the two of you about Toronto is, they are, in my opinion, are they going to seesaw back to earth and go 500 in the month of August? Or are they going to continue this trajectory on to the promised land of the playoffs and make all of Canada proud? What do you guys see in your crystal ball based on this, like, settling of the waves, if you will?
I don't really follow the Blue Jays enough to know about their pitching, because it's going to determine the last 8 weeks is who can pitch. They certainly had a good hot streak. It's not shocking that they win 2 out of 7. They're coming back to earth from a really good hot streak. That opened up a nice lead for them in the American League. Now, I don't know in the final 8 weeks if they have the pitching to hold off, shockingly, the Red Sox, which nobody saw coming, and the Yankees. Those two teams just... I thought Tampa Bay was going to be in it. I think that they're fading. So the American League East is really going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, I think Toronto Blue Jays, they don't have right now a pitcher that is able to stop a downfall. Like, they don't have a stopper. Like, they don't have a pitcher that's got, like, a true, like, ace that's going to, we need this guy to jump in and stop a losing streak. They don't have that right now. And I think that's part of the issue. But I think the Blue Jays and the Mets both have the same thing going for them in that they were going into the week off of a winning streak where they both had, like, a really hot winning streak going. And you look at it, the Mets tonight are half game out of first. The Blue Jays are still in first. It goes back to the, like, win them when you can, which makes the losing a little bit... It's not as bad when you're losing, you know? Blue Jays, their whip, I was just looking this up for the last 7 days, was 139. Which is not as bad as the Nationals, which was at a 228. Unreal.
When I look at the Blue Jays, we'll get into the monthly recaps, but on the weekly recap, Toronto earned their right to be here 2-5. They certainly got smoked by the Orioles, which they should not have gotten smoked by the Orioles. Losing to the Cubs is fine. All they needed was one more win to not be on the list. It's not surprising, especially when you look at their month's numbers. They were hot in July, and they're one of the best teams in the AL East this month by far.
You kept saying the Cubs. They lost to the Royals at the end of the week.
Why was I thinking the Cubbies?
Well, it's blue and it's a C.
Yeah, that's true.
I can understand. You got a lot going on.
I do. I'm very busy, man. Very, very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both of those teams they should have beat. They should have.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, they're up by a lot. They could have been up by a lot more, and this is where they sit. So, going to the next team is a team that we love as well. We have some family out there, the Dallas, Texas fans. The Texas Rangers are back, and they had, just like Toronto, a great week, and then they went on the road, and they hate playing on the road. They faced the Angels in Seattle, 2-5 on the week. Some really bad losses. I mean, they blew a save to Seattle. They lost in extra innings. They did the things that they typically do that remind us that they're the Rangers. So the one thing I have to give a hats off to the Texas Rangers, and this should be bigger news for us, but on the Badder5, we have the cycle. And because they finished in 4th place, they had a -8 run differential. They have officially completed the cycle. They have been on the Badder5 list 5 times. They have finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and then now they have 4th. They are the winner and the first one to get to the cycle, the Texas Rangers, and I'm very proud of them for that. 2-5 on the week, 5-5 in their last 10. They are certainly sniffing the playoffs now. The question is, just like I look at these seesaw teams and I'm like, well, which Ranger team is going to show up? Is this the Ranger team that's going to come back for the next 8 weeks? Do they continue to play 500 baseball? Because that's not going to get it done. They need more winning streaks. What do you guys see with the Rangers?
Well, the Mariners series was very important. Mariners and the Rangers are competing for that last playoff spot right now. And they lost 3 out of 4, including one that was blowing a 1-run lead in the ninth. If they could have gone 2-2, it would have smelled a lot better. But they dropped 2 games to the Mariners, a team they're chasing. It was not a good weekend for the Rangers. And, it's time. You say you still got 8 weeks, and they do. But you keep saying when. It's like this team keeps slipping into neutral. You just think they're going to get going, and then they're nothing. They can't hit anymore. They're losing games they should win. Then they get going. They got the pitching that's incredible, and all of us thought, wow, this team's going to be dangerous in the playoffs. Well, first you got to get to the playoffs, and they're doing their best to avoid that right now.
I'm a DeGrom fan. I love DeGrom. It's really bad if you're on this list and DeGrom started 2 of your games. That is a bad sign. I don't know where he is health-wise, wear and tear, but he's 37 years old, and I saw a stat where this week he became the fastest pitcher by innings to, the number of strikeouts that he had, of all time. Except the problem is he's 37 hitting 1,400 innings.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
I didn't think he was that old.
I didn't either. And then I remembered that he was with the Mets for I think 2 or 3 years when they played the Royals in the World Series. So he came up with Harvey, Syndergaard, who are both out of baseball now.
Yep.
Neither of them are playing a bit. That was that core pitching staff that was there. I want DeGrom to succeed. DeGrom at his best is amazing. He had some long ball issues. And then they had the base running fluke by Garcia, which was it's just dumb. It's stupid errors, Dad. Like he said, you don't see Milwaukee making these mistakes. You don't see the teams that are going to be dominant. You don't see them having these games. It's frustrating. So I feel like I'm going to revert everything back to the Mets now. The Rangers are kind of like the Mets. You can't actually appreciate a good time because inevitably something crazy is going to happen.
Yeah. I keep waiting for them to do something good, but I'm waiting.
They lost Trent Thornton, but I know the Mets drop a reliever every 2 days, so pick somebody up off free agency and probably be okay.
I think the Rangers are fine, and I'll get into the monthly on that. I think they had a really good July. Like Toronto, they were really hot. Then they cooled off. They're bad on the road. Their road record versus their home record is really becoming more and more glaring to me that is an issue. Again, 8 weeks left. They can't play 500, Dad, to your point. They got to be they don't have any more long weeks, so they got to go 4-2. They can't be doing 3-3s, and they certainly can't do 2-5s. I thought this was a big week for them, and so we'll see how they recover. They're at home, which is always a benefit, so they get a whole week at home. And we'll see if that trend continues where they play up here at home and then on the road they're questionable. To end the Batter 5 for the week, it's a team that I will get into right away in the Batter 5 of the month. And this is a big winner. The Rays. The Rays were 2-5 with a -3 run differential. They lost 3 of 4 to the Yankees. They lost 2 of 3 to the Dodgers. I think this is the one team that should be the happiest to close out this month. They went from a playoff contender to pretty much selling, and now they're out. They feel very out. They continue to lose. They're going the wrong way. They've been going the wrong way all month. They had one of the worst months in July, as we will talk about. But this Batter 5 week, it's just like a cherry on top of the sundae. We sold. We're done. We're not going to be there. They were a second-place team in the AL East No longer. They are 4th, and they are not far ahead of the Orioles. And the Orioles have been bad all year long. So Tampa just kind of, to me, it was one of those, we had a nice run. July happened. We'll see you next season, everybody.
It feels that way. It really does. It feels like it was a masquerade, their little run there before this. But now they have faded way back. It's coming back from where they're at is they're going to have to play like 650 baseball.
Ooh, yes.
They're only 5 games out of the wild card.
Except there's a lot of teams. If you're 5 games behind one team, that's something.
They're only behind 3.
How far ahead
What?
are they?
I mean, it is-
how far ahead are they from the Orioles? What's their record right now?
They're 3.5 games ahead of the Orioles.
They're 3 games under 500.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
They're closer to the Orioles than they are to the playoffs.
They're 2
did
and
they
8.
sell at the trade deadline?
Yes, they did.
All right, it's over.
They're 2 and 8 in their last 10. Like I said, July really was really bad for a couple teams in the month of July, but the Rays really were like, hey, this is kind of it. Unlike the Nationals, who belong where they are in the batter 5. And so to kind of give people the stats of the batter 5, if you will, there's a beauty to this totals, if you will. The Rays are now, that's their 3rd time on the batter 5. The Mets, that was their 2nd. We already talked about the Rangers getting there 5 times. The Nationals have been there 6 times. And so I think, the Rangers hit for the cycle. Who was the other team? Blue Jays, 2. Blue Jays have been there twice. So, again, it's good to not be on there a lot. The Mets and Blue Jays, obviously playoff teams. The Rangers, I think for the next 8 weeks, the Rangers cannot be on a batter 5. They just cannot be on the batter 5. Otherwise, you have to hope for Seattle or one of these other teams in the playoffs to be on the batter 5. The Rangers have got to pick it up. They have to have good months every month.
Do you know the Rays didn't score a run against the Dodgers?
They beat the Dodgers.
The Rays?
Mm-hmm.
The 3 straight losses to the Dodgers this week.
Nope, they shut them out in one of the games.
What?
Call me crazy.
I think you're crazy.
It's possible. Believe it was Saturday night. Rays 4, Dodgers nothing. Saturday night.
Yep.
Oh.
All 3 games were shutouts.
I had that inverted.
Yes, the
Wow.
the Dodgers shut them out the other 2, but yes, the Rays did get one of those games.
Jeez, that's depressing. You won the game, and I thought you lost.
Yeah, the Rays aren't known to have a good month. So I want to go into the batter 5 of the month because this is a big deal where I want to talk about the teams that did really, really well in each of the divisions. So the teams that were just lights out great. The Boston Red Sox were 21-7 in the AL East. Right behind them was the Toronto Blue Jays at 20-10. If you want to know why these teams are as high as they are, look no further than July, everybody. These teams were very hot. Then you had in the Central, Kansas City and Cleveland, 17-11 for Kansas City, 16-13 for Cleveland. Not good enough to really dent the Detroit Tigers, but still better than just the Tigers. The Mariners were 18-12, and the Rangers were 17-12 in the month of July. So both of those teams, we're talking about a half a game. If they win one of those games against the Mariners, the Texas Rangers have the best month for that division. Going to the NL, the Marlins won another month again. They were 18-10 in the month of July. The next best team in the NL East was the Mets at 15-12 and the Phillies at 14-13. So the Phillies and Mets continue to take naps. We'll see who decides to ramp it up, but the Marlins are closing, and they are closing fast like a speedboat. The Brewers were 20-7. The Brewers were 20-7 in the month of July. The next best team was 16-11, the Cubs. It's a great month. 20-7 is a great month. The Padres were 17-12. You remember we're trying to figure them out. They had a great week to close out July. 17-12. The only team with a winning record in the NL West was the Padres.
Wow.
Every other team had a losing record.
Their pitching has been great.
And that brings us to like who made it to the batter 5 for the month. Now, July's a tough month, everybody. You have the All-Star break, people take some time off, and then you also have buyers and sellers. I think you'll see why every one of these teams ended up being a seller. The first was the Rays. They were 8-21. So if you compare that to what Boston and Toronto did in the same month, and now you're 3 games out of 500, they lost so many games on Toronto and Boston. It's comedy. They were a wild card team, second place in the division. They are in 4th. They were 8 games above 500 going into July, everybody.
And you're just going based on the weeks that you had for July for the batter 5, right?
Correct. So I don't, it's not a true month because I take week spots. So this is the 4 weeks we just had, including the post All-Star week. So we just ended it here.
Pepper a little bit of August in there, a little bit of June.
Yes. So August
Just
will have
a dab.
Just a dab. Just a touch. So they were 8 games above 500 entering this month. That's before the All-Star break. To close it out, they're 3 games behind. They sold players. This has been just a brutal month, especially, again, I can't emphasize this enough. When 2 teams in your division pull off 20 wins in a month and you pull off 8.
Yeah. I heard Nashville wants a team.
Nashville does.
Maybe consider that move.
It's they would be very happy with the Rays and how the Rays run their organization. So that was the Rays in the month of July. Another team that ended up selling, the St. Louis Cardinals. Now the St. Louis Cardinals went 9-19. This is after 2 winning records. They were one of the teams, Todd, you talked about after the All-Star break, putting it into 5th gear, making things happen. They did the exact opposite. They got rid of bullpen players. They've given up, moving on to next year. But if you look at what happened, it is 4 weeks in July can make or break your season. Just going 28 games, 14-14. It's a whole different world. 10 games under 500. I mean, they're 6.5 games out of the wild card, and I think this kind of cemented all their hopes and dreams. Todd, any words you want to say to the good old Cardinals?
The team ERA in July was 5. Like just 5. No point anything, just plain 5. Your team whip was 137. Teams batted 280 against you. You did it to yourselves. Listen, after last season, the fact that there was a conversation about whether or not you were sellers at the deadline is a success if you're St. Louis.
I would agree.
But, hey, you're not the Rays.
Well,
I guess you put it that way. You're not the Rays. It'll be all right.
There's some similarities in their seasons. Both the Rays and the Cardinals got hot for a while, and they looked like they might actually be contenders, but it was a mirage.
Yeah.
They both fell apart, and they're now where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. And the thing that's interesting is neither of these teams sniffed the batter 5 for the month at all year. And now they just slammed into the first and second in a big month with lots of games as well. Third place is a team, been there, done that. They're used to this. The Nationals, come on down. They had a terrible month. They also ended up with 9 wins. I can't mention the Nationals without their friends. Their friends in the bottom of the NL East, the Braves, were also 9-18. So as much as I would love to say, hey, Braves fans, don't worry, you're now with the Nationals. And I'm just going to emphasize, Todd, what you said last week. The Braves have signed all these players for a long time. The Nationals have sold all their players. They have no one they're committed to. The Braves are committed to all of these guys, and they are right now in the same kind of league as the Nationals. We talked about they cannot have another losing month. They continue to make the batter 5. They continue to play poorly. And is this a speed bump or is this the Braves? That's your question you asked last week. And now it's kind of July kind of cemented the season. It's over. 8 weeks until vacation time if they're not already planning vacations. Dad, what are you thinking about Todd's comments?
I am friends with a Braves fanatic. And so I said, what is going on? We have not seen this from the Braves in a long time. And he said it's real simple. This is what he told me, all of their starters are injured. They lost the whole starting rotation. Now, I didn't check him out, but I think he's not one to lie to me. So his contention is we will be back. Don't this is going to be one bad year, but we're not done.
Wrong. It's over. So, welcome to hell. Listen, your whole team. I'm so delighted that this is happening. It couldn't happen to a better fan base. You can't even sell out playoff games. You don't deserve it. You shouldn't go to the playoffs. For 10 years, you're banned. Reap what you sow. Was it Spencer Strider? Too many squats.
Yeah.
So their team ERA for the month was 5.80. Process that one.
Yep.
The Nationals were 5.57. Listen, you can't. Acuna was hurt. He was on the disabled list for 10 days. That seems to be a big theme with them too, where, if Acuna's not there, they really don't have, what they need in order to move forward. So I don't know. I'm not shedding any tears for the Braves fans or the Braves at all. Like, once every 30 years your team sucks, you'll cope. You'll deal with it. It'll be okay.
So on another note about the Braves, they have spent the most money for the worst record. There's always that team. It's the Braves. The Braves have spent $213 million for a 47-63 record. We'll see if that stays. That's what they're fighting for in the last 8 weeks. Maybe some pride, maybe some ego. I don't know. We'll soon find out. But this is what it looks like for the Braves as they compete with the Nationals for last place in the division. And finally, last but not least of the month is the San Francisco Giants. The Giants, as everyone recalls, a while ago when they were playing the Dodgers, they were tied in first. Dad, you remember that? Everybody was excited. The Giants are tied for first. They're going to compete with the Dodgers. Well, they finished 11-17. They have been 4-11 since the All-Star break. And that made them sell. They are now 6 games back in the wild card. They're hanging out with the Diamondbacks. And the big trade for Rafael Devers. They went and got him from Boston. And Boston, if you have not noticed, is on a trajectory that looks fantastic. And the Giants kind of look human. I thought the Giants were going to come back to earth. But maybe Boston got a lot more chemistry going on with the removal of a bad attitude, highly paid, forever kind of guy. Maybe.
I know. Yeah, he was on a horrible 0 for 24 hit streak, I think, after the All-Star game or something like that, until he ganked a home run against the Mets. But
just like the start of the season, he started the season like that.
Yeah. But it might be just him getting used to new digs, but it was weird. It was strange to me that the Giants were sellers. It's like I thought they had a chance to compete, and no, they just sold out. So okay,
Yep, the Giants sold. They committed a lot of money, especially in that contract because he's signed for quite a while, and Boston was happy to get rid of him, and everybody at the time was like, Boston is getting rid of. How much talent did they get rid of? Do you remember there's a couple huge Boston guys that are playing out west. The Padres have Xander, and he's 260, really isn't doing a whole lot. Boston had him for a bit. Mookie Betts is on the Dodgers, struggling this year heavily. Yep. And now you have, San Francisco, the Dodgers, and the Padres all have a Boston player that was told to everybody was the Rock. And who did they pick up from the Astros? They picked up a great third baseman who is performing well from the Astros. And if I look at this and I look at Boston, maybe they kind of know baseball.
I want to talk about the Red Sox, but I do have to make a comment about the Giants.
Yes.
I moved on the Giants. Beginning of the year, I didn't expect anything out of them. I thought they were solidly set in fourth place. And they kept playing really well, winning close games. And I watched them, and I saw a really good bullpen. And I said, this team's a lot better than I gave them credit for. But then the floor fell out. I mean, it's been recent. It's been, in the last 3-4 weeks?
Yep.
But they're gone now, and they know it, and they just started trading. But that was a quick fallout, I felt. I have to make another comment. A team we don't see for the whole month. Colorado Rockies.
Yo, hanging out, right?
Yeah, what's going on?
Not good enough to be good, but not bad enough to be in the batter 5.
By a hair.
Maybe if there was a batter 6,
they would have made it.
They would have been in.
So,
well, the Mets' record of only 40 wins looks okay, because I think the Rockies are now up to 30 with 8 weeks to go.
If you look at the Giants trending, so they started the year 19-10 in the first month. They went 14-16, 12-13, and now 11-17. So then you have to say to yourselves, the first month was the anomaly. They are a 500 club, under 500 club. This is what they are. Should they have picked up Devers? I don't know. I don't know if that really is going to help them. I know Boston's really happy to not have him. It really cleared up a lot of stuff for Boston. Dad, you wanted to talk about Boston for a minute?
Well, I need help. What's going on? I thought this team was a solid fourth-place team, lucky to get to third. They're closing in on Toronto for first place. Now, I granted it could be a 3-week hot spell, and they're going to fall apart. But what's made Boston so doggone good?
Well, one could argue hitting and pitching.
Oh, those things.
I mean, I'm looking at some stats here for July. First of all, the Athletics had the most home runs in the month of July.
Well, yeah, that one guy hit 15 in one game.
Right, it's just so you're aware. Boston's like the team OPS for July was 795. They hit 265. I mean, nothing incredible. And go over to their pitching, I guess, and see what they did there as far as pitching was concerned. Their team ERA for the month of July was 286.
There you go.
Whip of 118. Teams average 233 against them. Say this about it, batting average. If your batting average is better than the other teams for the month, you're probably winning games. They had two pitchers pitch complete games in the month of July. The only other team to do that was Philadelphia, which is another bonfire of nightmare fuel that's tracking me down. Anyway, Boston's legit right now.
So here's again, this is where you have to ask the question of what is real, what's not. So here's Boston's first 3 months. Okay. 16-14, 13-16, and 12-12. They are a 500 team. Then this month they were 21-7. And in the 21-7, 5-1, 7-0, 4-5, and 5-1. That is their record in the month of July. So the question is July the anomaly? Because right now it says yes, they're going to be a 500 baseball team the rest of the 8 weeks. And if they are, where does that put them? Does that put them in the playoffs, staying 500? Because whichever team is going to get hot in the AL is going to end up with that spot. Mariners, Rangers, Boston, Yankees. And the Yankees have been subpar. They had a terrible month. They were 12-17. So the Yankees were 12-13 last month and 12-17 this month. The first 2 months, 17-11, 19-11. So when you look at the AL East, it's really which team is going to be which team is going to be what.
Okay, you guys got the high-speed sports computer in front of you. Who's pitching for Boston that's doing so well? Who are these guys? Who are their starters?
Well, that's a good question. Funny you should mention that. So pitching, let's see.
They have someone who's considered the Cy Young. I'm waiting for Todd to see him. He's been their ace of all aces.
Chapman? Hold on. Steven Matz?
Garrett.
No.
Garrett. His first name's Garrett. Crotchet.
Garrett
Crotchet. Yes, that's him. 12-4 with a 2.23 ERA, Dad. He has been lights out, pitched against Kershaw. I'm telling you, he has got a variety of wonderful pitches, and he has been excellent for Boston this year.
They picked him up on the offseason from, who did they get him from? They traded for him.
The White Sox.
There we go. All things come back to the south side of Chicago.
Good.
Got him from the White Sox. And this is by far one of his best performances.
Yeah, his what's interesting is that he somehow is getting, I guess, a little bit lucky with the quality of contact. I'm looking at StatCast on quality of contact plus strikeouts plus walks. And he seems to be, he's got guys going with a regular batting OBA of 266 with an expected of 282. So he's actually overperforming in that category, which is interesting. But
So from what you said, Todd, I'm not hearing a bunch of guys to scare me for the last 8 weeks to keep this pitching up.
well, Lucas Galido is the one that's really overperforming right now.
If you look at Boston,
Didn't he come from Oakland? I think he did.
So here's my question, Dad. They're 11 games above 500 right now. If they play 500 baseball, 11 games above 500, does that get them in the playoffs? My argument is yes. If they play 500 baseball for 8 weeks, they're in the playoffs.
I think it's going to be close, but they could do that, sure.
And then if you look at the Yankees, they're 8 games above 500. So these teams have to play poorly to lose, or the teams behind them have to just get really hot to get ahead of them. And that's the problem that you have, because Cleveland I don't see getting really hot. Texans and Seattle could overthrow one of those teams, but you have 4 teams competing there. You have Boston, New York, Seattle, and Texas for 3 spots. And the other team in there would be the Toronto Blue Jays, and then they have to throw in there the Houston Astros. So those are your teams looking at the playoffs. Who is out? Who is in? We have 8 weeks to decide. I think, to me, it's either going to be Seattle or Texas based on how those 2 teams have played all year.
Seattle's not out. Seattle's going to the playoffs. That their pickups at the trade deadline are too good. I think they did a really good job there. Seattle's going to be in the playoffs, which is probably good for baseball in the Pacific Northwest because they need a distraction up there. They're too occupied with other things.
The revenge of the Diamondbacks who got traded to Seattle to beat the Texas Rangers. I like it.
Yeah, I think right now you're 2 that are going to compete for getting kicked out just based on what we're seeing right now are the Blue Jays and the Rangers.
Interesting.
Blue Jays and the Rangers. Yeah, because the Blue Jays are what? They're like a half game out?
No,
they're a half game up or something?
The Blue Jays have the whole division right now.
Right, I know they have the whole division, but we're still 2 months out. They're not going to sustain that.
Okay.
I tell you a team that's just sneaky. The Cleveland Indians had 2 horrible weeks in a row.
Yes.
Badder5, 2 weeks in a row. They are right in the thick of this.
True.
And you cannot sleep on them. That's just, don't give up on the Cleveland Indians. They're in the thick of it.
I gave up on the Cleveland Indians. I'm going to give up on the Guardians too.
How about the Royals are also 56 and 55. They're right tied with the Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, me neither.
So the National League is a lot different to me because it feels to me like it's kind of cemented. The Padres are playing good baseball. They're 4 games up on the Reds. They're the last team in on the wild card. So here's what you have. You have the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Mets, and the Padres. Of these teams, when I look at who are the strongest going into the playoffs, I think you have the Brewers, I think you have the Padres, and I think all the rest of those teams have massive weaknesses that could be exposed in a playoff series. Those are the 2 teams to me that I feel are the most complete teams, the Padres and the Brewers.
I would say today that's true, but if you'd asked me 7 days ago, I would have said Toronto is the team that's
just the National League. Let's leave the American League way out.
I know that, but teams can look good for a while, and then all of a sudden they're in the batter 5.
Cubs are going to the playoffs.
Yes.
And they're going to win the Central.
Ooh,
Brewers are going to be the wild card from the Central. God, I hate this. Okay, the West, the Dodgers are going to win the West. Great. Whatever. I think the Padres can't sustain it. There's too much age there. I think the Reds sneak in.
Interesting.
And I'm not going to say anything about the East.
I'm not buying the Reds over the Padres. I'm not buying that one.
It's going to happen. I believe in it.
We still have 3 teams who've never been in the batter 5: the Dodgers, the Reds, and the Brewers.
That's it right there.
Do you
Those
think
are your teams?
Those teams are all making the playoffs?
Yep.
Well, the batter 5.
The Central's going to have 3 teams in the playoffs.
The Reds, Brewers, and Cubs.
Yes.
Wow.
It's going to be awesome.
I think it would be awesome. But the Reds have got to they're 4 games above 500, so they're doing good. They're 4 games back of the Padres. This will be interesting. So we have 8 weeks left. You will get some 7-game weeks from teams. You'll get 6 games weeks typically. The most interesting aspect of this to me is the American League and what the wild card looks like and who gets hot. Dad, to your point about Cleveland, if a team goes 12-1 in 2 weeks, you are in the driver's seat of wherever you're sitting. Because if Cleveland does that, they're in the driver's seat of the wild card. Rangers, Seattle, Houston, any of those teams gets really hot, then they can really put a lot of distance and really give that space that they want to get to the next level. The one thing I do enjoy about the National League, each division is undecided. The Dodgers and Padres are close enough that it's not over. Brewers and Cubs are close enough it's not over, and the Mets and Phillies are close enough it's not over. So all of those teams are going to battle all the way till the very end, because otherwise, to your point, Todd, if Padres fall off, the Dodgers can coast in. But again, right now we have great competition for all those divisions, which is really important to not to play in a 3-game series. You don't want to play in a 3-game series. See the Dodgers against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Going to be fun.
You got to cure that 3-game series. That's the worst.
Last 8 weeks are going to be exciting.
I forget. Isn't that you play the wild card game to get in? You have to beat a team one time, or is it 3 games at home?
No, that's if you're tied and you got to.
Oh, right. But you get 3 games at home.
You're thinking about the NBA.
Oh no, that's their mid-season quarterfinal championship Dubai Cup or something, or whatever they want to call it.
The winners. We're the winners. All right, well, Dad, I didn't mention the Diamondbacks. They had a terrible week. They sold. They looked really bad. They lost all their games till they won their last 2, so they were right there. They didn't quite make it. They didn't make it on the batter 5 for the month, but they sold. Are you happy with what they sold? Are you happy with what they got? Are you a happy Diamondback fan?
They weren't going to make the playoffs. I've been saying this for many weeks. Not making the playoffs. They got 5 free agents. They're not going to sign all of them, if any. They got rid of most of them, and they picked up 8 pitchers. Now, any of them any good, we don't know. They're young guys. They seem to have strong arms, but they just injected 8 arms into their organization. We'll see where it goes. Plus, they freed up a lot of money to go and get some free agents to fill holes. So, yeah, I think they did a good job.
Yeah,
So
take it from me. You can't have too many arms.
The potential for 8 of these players to have Tommy John surgery next year increased based on the Diamondbacks.
8 of them.
Yeah, we got 7 of them coming back from Tommy John, so don't forget that.
I mean, Todd,
You're a shoo-in.
we've had
You're a
so many
shoo-in.
Tommy John. It's like they shouldn't even talk to each other. You know how like it's like if you hang out with somebody with Tommy John injury, you're going to get a Tommy John injury.
We got the Brewers to take Jordan Montgomery.
Oh my
who's
Lord.
having Tommy John.
That was
who's
amazing.
having Tommy John, and good chance at his age that he may never pitch again at all. But get this one. In his contract, if the Diamondbacks traded him, he got a $500,000 raise.
Good for him.
So he's sitting at home with his arm in a sling and pick up another $500,000.
That's what agents are for.
I love it. If you're playing good enough to be traded, you should get paid more money. That's a good agent, to Todd's point. Great deal, great negotiations. And he wasn't playing good enough to get traded, but he was good enough that the Brewers claimed him.
Yep.
And the Diamondbacks got him off the book. Todd, I know we talked about the Mets because they were in the batter 5. What's the high and low of this week of your expectation before we get to our batter 5 predictions for the week?
The Mets aren't going to lose again until the end of the year.
Mets are running away with it. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the Mets. Now let's go into the batter 5. Which teams are we feeling? Dad, you go first. Who do you feel is going to be the best?
Reds are going to fall apart. Next week's the bad week for the Reds.
There you go, Todd.
This team, I hate them. And Tuesday, they're having a home game where they're doing a Hello Kitty cross-body bag day. And then they have
I don't even know what team he's
like
talking
this is just
about.
the stupidest promo I've ever seen in my life. And then on Friday they're doing a Kobe Bryant bobblehead.
Oh, Lord.
He's not even playing. What emotional manipulation by the Dodgers. I don't care that you're playing the Cardinals and the Blue Jays. You're done. 6 home games, 6 losses. Lock it in right now.
I'm going to go with the Yankees. I think the Yankees are been sniffing. And there's so much pressure on the Yankees right now because they've been playing so bad. I think that we're looking at the Yankees as being the team that's just going to kind of crumble here. I think the pressure's too much. The pitching's not there. The hitting's not there. And forget the hitting, the pitching. I shouldn't even talk about it. The fielding is so bad. It's so bad on the Yankees and the Phillies as well. But the Yankees, to me, feel like they're going to be the odd man out in the playoff. They continue to crumble in front of all. So, Yankees for me. Todd, you have the Dodgers. And Dad, you have the poor. Dad's beating on the poor Reds. He's beating up on the poor little Reds.
I want them to prove you. Oh, man. I love my Reds. Let's go Reds.
Todd wants the Reds to make the playoffs. And that's us for Batter Sports. That's the Batter 5. That's your monthly. That's your weekly. Like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks, Dad, for taking some time away from rounding third to join us. And Todd, as always, it's always good to get your take. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.